Shabbat Shalom. It's another rest day of the week. It's a Sabbath day, otherwise known in the English as Saturday. It's the last day of the week. It's a resting day. But we're not here to talk about the Shabbat. We're here to talk about Jacob and how God adopted him, how God took him in as a son into his kingdom. But first we want to find out what Jacob means. Jacob means the deceiver or supplanter, or in today's word, English vernacular, he would have been called the con mouse because he held on to his brother's heel, so they called him Jacob because he's trying to deceive his brother. He conned him out of his birthright for a bowl of lentil. He conned him out of his blessings, and then his mom sent him away to her brother Laban, and he works for Laban for 7 years for Rachel, but Laban cons him. So let's go right into Genesis and read about Laban. And Laban said unto Jacob, because thou art my brother, shouldst thou therefore serve me forget? Tell me, what shall thy wages be? Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. And Laban said, it is better that I give her to thee than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days for the love he had for her. And Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place, and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter, and brought her to him, and he went in unto her. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah, his maid, for an handmaid. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is this thou hast done unto me? Did not I serve thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me, or conned me? And Laban said, it must not be so done in the country to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet 7 other years. And Jacob did so, and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel his daughter to wife also. And Laban gave to Rachel his daughter Bilhah his handmaid to be her maid. And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years. And this is found in Genesis 29, verses 21 to 30. Now, Laban deceives Jacob, and Jacob deceives Laban. So they deceive each other. And this is found in Genesis 30, 25 to 43. And it came to pass, when Rachel had born Joseph, that Jacob said unto Laban, send me away, that I may go into mine own place, and to my own country. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served thee, and let me go, for thou knowest my service which I have done thee. And Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry, for I have learned by experience that the Lord hath blessed me for thy sake. And he said, appoint me thy wages, and I will give it. And he said unto him, thou knowest how I have served thee, and how thy cattle was with me. For it was little which thou hast before I came, and it is now increased into a multitude, and the Lord hath blessed thee since my coming. And now when shall I provide for mine own house also? And he said, what shall I give thee? And Jacob said, thou shalt give me anything. Thou shalt not give me anything. If thou wilt do this for me, it will again feed and keep I will again feed and keep thy flock. I will pass through the flock today, removing from thence all the speckled and spotted cattle, and all the brown cattle among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and of such shall be my hire. So shall my righteousness answer for me in time to come, when it shall come for my hire before thy face, every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats and brown among the sheep, that shall be counted stolen with me. And Laban said, behold, I would it might be according to thy word. And he removed that day the he-goats that were ring-necked and spotted, and all the she-goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one that had some white in it, and all the brown among the sheep, and gave them into the hands of his sons. He said 3 days' journey betwixt himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flock. And Jacob took him rods of green poplar, and of hazel and chestnut tree, and peeled white streaks in them, and made the white appear which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he had peeled before the flock in the gutters of the watering troughs, when the flocks came to drink, that they should conceive when they came to drink. And the flocks conceived before the rods, and brought forth cattle, ring-necked, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob did separate the lambs, and set the faces of the flocks toward the ringside, and all the brown in the flock of Laban. And he put his own flock by themselves, and put them not into Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whensoever the stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters, and that they might conceive among the rods. But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in. So the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. And the man increased exceedingly, and had much cattle, and maidservants, and menservants, and camels, and asses. So Laban deceived Jacob, and Jacob deceived Laban. Now Jacob wants to go home, so we go to Genesis 31, 1 through 21. Jacob leaves secretly for Canaan. Now, Jacob wants to go home, and Laban wouldn't let him. He asked him to work. So he worked for him for a time, and the time, for 7 years each. And now Jacob wants to go home. While Laban was out in the field, Jacob packed up and left. So we go to Genesis 31, 1 through 21. And he heard the words of Laban's sons, saying, Jacob hath taken away all that was our father's, and of that which was our father's hath he gotten all his glory. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and beheld, it was not toward him as before. And the Lord said unto Jacob, Return unto the land of thy fathers, and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto his flock, and said unto them, I see your father's countenance, that it is not toward me as before, but the God of my father hath been with me. Ye know that with all my power I have served your father, and your father hath deceived me. Oh, wow. Here we go. Here we see that Carmelis was deceived by someone else. And your father has deceived me and changed my wages 10 times. But God suffered him not to hurt me. If he said thus, the speckled shall be thy wages, then all the cattle are speckled. And if he said thus, the ringneck shall be thy hire, then bars all the cattle ring-streaked. Thus God hath taken away the cattle of your father and given them to me. And it came to pass that at the time that the cattle conceived, that I lifted up mine eyes and saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were ring-streaked, speckled, and bristled. And the angel of God spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Lift up now thine eyes, and see, all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring-streaked, speckled, and bristled. For I have all that Laban doth unto thee. Let me read this again. And he said, Lift up thine eyes, and see, all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring-streaked, speckled, and bristled. For I have seen all that Laban doth unto thee. I am the God of Bethel, where thou anointest the pillar, and where thou vowest a vow unto me. Now arise, get thee out of this land, and return unto the land of thy kindred. And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, Is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Are we not counted of him strangers? For he hath sold us, and hath quiet devoured also our money, all the riches which God hath taken from our father, that is ours, our children. Now then, whatsoever God hath said unto thee, do. Then Jacob rose up, and set his sons and his wives upon camels, and he carried away all his cattle and all his goods, and which he had gotten, the cattle of his getting, which he had gotten in Pandaram, for to go to Isaac his father, and the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the image that were his father's. And Jacob stole away unaware to Laban the Syrian in that he told him not that he fled. So he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river and set his face toward the Mount Gilead. So he crossed over the river. What river? Jordan. He crossed over the Jordan. So let's see what happens tomorrow and where Jacob is going. And we shall go deeper into Genesis 32:28. And until tomorrow, I will say shalom unto you from Scripture 365. Shalom.